Welcome to today's Ninja video, where we go even deeper into exploring the power in our consciousness. And this is a good reason to subscribe, by the way, because these videos here are only visible for a short period of time. And if you catch it, you could say the link, and this way you could always come back to this video. It'll always be available for you if you are in the know. Now, what we're going to work on today is exploring how we push away abundance and how to cut that out. Seriously, just stop the whole thing. Also, I am really excited to test out some new equipment here that is smaller, faster, lighter, easier to use, that'll get me out of the studio and be able to share even more with you, deliver more great content to this channel, and make this whole experience more open, more fun. Because this is one of my big goals for this channel, is to get across that this is a lifestyle. This is something that struck me early on when I first started doing this work, because I saw that this is what life is all about. Seriously. So I'm going to make my whole life about letting go. And what this enabled me to do was get the consistency and the ease of it, really click in on how easy this is. And day by day, week by week, month by month, just get freer, lighter, and happier. So I want to share this with you and go even further in doing this work together and expanding our consciousness. All right? So anyway, enough said about that. Let's go ahead and go upstairs to the studio, do this exercise together. All right? So I'm going to take you upstairs. I'll see you in a second. Hey there. So today, let's take a look at how we're pushing away abundance. I know it's a silly concept, but we can definitely see ourselves doing it and how we're doing it. You know, we can see ourselves like when there's a big opportunity that presents itself. We're too afraid to reach out and take it. We're too afraid to step out of our comfort zone. We prefer to play small, do something ridiculous when there's a massive opportunity. Or we find ourselves missing out on an opportunity by not taking action. Instead, being run by our own programs, our own habits and tendencies. So, like, there could be just one action. If we would just take that, it would make a massive difference. It could be the breakthrough for our goal, but we don't do it. Instead, we find ourselves procrastinating or focusing on some little problem instead of the big opportunity. And these are our mental programs, our habits that are running. So, what's the real problem here? It's simply identifying with our ego and listening to our mind. That's where all of this nonsense comes out of. All of these habits, all of these fears, all of these ridiculous stories that say I'm not good enough, I should feel guilty about things that I've done, so I'm going to punish myself. I won't have that abundance. And these are programs. Some of them run consciously. We can be aware of them. But a lot of them tend to run very deep and subconsciously. And we can go after each of these individual instances in our subconscious, pull it out and let it go. And we should be doing that. But even more than that, what we should be doing is just dropping the whole mind. Let go of identifying with that thing completely. After all, what is the mind? It's just a sound that's playing in our head. And it tends to play the same nonsense over and over and over again, right? It's just like a broken record. It keeps just telling you the same stories. You go to bed, it's playing some silly story. Then you wake up the next morning, you wake up with that same silly story. You go off to work, and in the day, it brings that story up again. It probably runs the same story maybe 20, 40, 100 times a day. Notice how the mind just repeats the same stuff again and again. That just shows the nature of the mind. All it is a recording and playback machine. That's it. And every story, every piece of information that it has, you put into it. And all the feelings, all the programs, all the decisions that result in like a repeated behavior or a decision from that point forward, you made that decision. So everything that's in the mind, you put into it. You're the operator. You're the owner. And in a very silly way now, identifying with that mind, even looking up to it, because it's supposed to have all the information for you, right? So if you don't know what to do, if you're finding yourself in a situation where you need to get an answer, you run to your mind. Mind, tell me what to do. Tell me how to get out of this situation. Tell me how to move forward in life. Yet if it doesn't have the information that you need, that's your first clue. You should stop asking it. But we don't. We just keep asking it again and again and again and again. And we're only doing that because we're identifying with that mind, just out of habit. So what we need to do now is form a new habit. And not really forming a new habit, just undoing the old habit, which leaves ourselves in the space of now, in the space of quiet, where we're just open and unconditioned. So let's just take some steps to get to this place. And when we get back to our connection, our identification with the real us, then let's see what answers we get about expanding our lives, welcoming more abundance, more happiness, more ease and effortlessness into our lives. Because just notice one thing here. Notice how even though you treat your mind like it's your best friend, it's not out for your good. Your mind, in fact, is not interested in you being successful. It is not interested in you having nice things or being happy or being in ease and effortlessness. No way. It doesn't even want you to go there. You know why? Because as long as you're in negativity, as long as there's a problem or something to be afraid of, you're going to keep running to the mind. If there's no problem, no worries, you're not going to bother listening to that noise in your head. So really, your mind is deceiving you into thinking that it's your friend when it's really not out for your welfare. However, quiet, beingness, when you talk to it, it gives you nothing negative. It gives you everything positive. Beingness tells you you can. Beingness tells you you are. So let's start talking to beingness now. All right, so just make sure you don't have any distractions, any interruptions. You're in a nice, quiet space here. And just close your eyes. Get nice and relaxed. And pay attention to your breath right now. Just notice the feeling, the sensation as you breathe in. Feel the air move into your body. Feel how your body expands with your breath. Even feel how your clothes feel as your body moves and expands, and how your clothes move across your skin. Just notice that. And just feel yourself breathing out and breathing in. Notice every aspect of it. Notice if your mouth is dry or if it's moist. Notice how your lips feel. Notice the temperature around you. How your hands feel, the temperature. Notice that. And just keep watching your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And in and out. And in and out. And notice, the more you just observe your breath now in this moment, the quieter you're becoming. And you're becoming more in tune with now. Because you're just observing what is right here, right now, in your breath. So just keep watching your breath. Keep surrendering to quiet. Surrendering to now. And notice who you are. Who's witnessing this moment. Notice that part of you makes no sound. Just is. The only sound, noise, comes from the ego mind, not from your beingness. That is totally quiet. It has no body, has no name, no form, no sound. That's very much alive, very aware. Just become aware of awareness. Now. And now. And now. And now. And now. And now. And let's take a look at how we're pushing away abundance. Now see if you have any information or programs running in your mind about abundance. Any negative information at all. Any ideas that being abundant isn't spiritual. Being abundant isn't loving, isn't good. It's only for greedy people, bad people. See if you have any judgments about having lots of abundance. And notice how that judgment is resisting the abundance. And really, it has no basis in fact. It really doesn't. See, one of the ways that the mind works in is in absolutes. You know, it says, that is bad. Abundance is bad. And having lots of abundance is for greedy people, for evil people, something like that. And maybe you have lots of evidence. Oh, look at that person. Oh, look at that person. Look at what they're doing. Look at how they're behaving. So your mind will pick on examples to prove its point and saying in a blanket statement that, it's all true because of that. But it's not true, is it? Not 100%. Because there's lots of good people with abundance. There's lots of spiritual people with lots of abundance. But the mind will never point that out and say, oh, well, look at that. Why don't you just do that if it's okay for them? No, let's focus on the negative. Right? So your mind isn't interested in positive stuff. It wants to keep you negative. And notice this judgment that you have. It's really your decision. Now, maybe somebody told that to you a long time ago. Maybe you're a little kid and somebody said to you that, money's the root of all evil, or some, silly quote like that. And you're a little kid, you don't know any better. And you're looking up to these people because obviously they know what the world's about, so if they tell you, it must be fact. So you record that information in, and you agree with it. You just put it in. And then your mind is repeating it back to you all the rest of your life. But you put it in there. So ultimately, this is your decision. Now, we're not a kid anymore. That's long gone. We are right here. Right now. And right now, would you rather decide to be run by a program or some quote that somebody told you a long time ago? Or would you rather make a decision that says, hey, I'm free, I'm open, I can choose whatever I want. I can make my own decisions. And I can decide to be positive. See, never mind what you decided in the past. What do you decide right now? You decide to be positive, or do you decide to be negative? Be in fear, be resistant, be rejecting. What do you decide? Could you let go of that story in your mind? Could you let go of listening to it? And you can start right now just by noticing how you feel. See, bring your awareness into your feeling center here, into your stomach or chest. And notice that there's a tightness or contraction, like a clenching feeling or an uncomfortable sensation. That's your body letting you know that what you're doing isn't natural. That's why it feels so contracted. So notice where that feeling is. If you feel a tightness or contraction in your stomach or chest, and open up an imaginary window or door right in front of that energy, right in front of that feeling. Just open up. And allow that energy to leave. And allow it to leave even more. And even more. And even more. Because this is really what's going on. We have a feeling about abundance. We have a feeling about it not being right. We have a feeling that goes along with that rejection. And usually it's a feeling that we don't like. So we try to push it down, suppress that feeling. But that's not natural. That's why we feel contracted. So just open up. Allow that energy to leave. Just open up that imaginary door and imagine that energy going right on out the door. And even more. 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 And notice how you feel. See if you're feeling lighter. All right? So open up even more. See if you can open that door up even wider. And just allow more energy to come up. Allow more of those feelings to come up. Let go pushing down on them. Just allow all that energy, all those feelings to arise. Welcome it all up. And just open up, wide open. And allow it to just spill on out. And even more. 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 And notice how you feel. And notice if you're feeling even quieter. Notice the more you just open up, the more you let go, you just fall into quiet. Because it's your natural state. See, this should tell you something. And this should tell you that you should pay attention to listening to quiet exclusively, only, all the time. And notice how good it feels the more you're getting in touch with quiet now. This should also give you a big clue on where you should go. Now, of course, the mind will tell you that its information that it has is so important to you. It's critical to you. And see if you're believing that to be true. Now, what would happen if you just stopped listening to your mind? What's the worst thing that could happen if you did that? Maybe you feel like you just won't know what to do. You'll walk around like a total idiot. You won't be able to do your job. You'll lose your job. You'll lose your income. And you'll just walk around like, I don't care. And while you walk around like, I don't care, your whole life is going to fall apart. And then before you know it, you'll be out on the street. You'll starve to death and then you'll die. Notice, that's what your mind is telling you. It's giving you all sorts of information like that. You better pay attention to me or else you're going to die. See how your mind is talking to you? But just notice that fear, or whatever it is that is coming up for you. You think about like the worst thing that could happen to you if you stop listening to your mind. Or maybe you're afraid that you'll be bored. That by listening to your mind, it gives you some sort of entertainment, makes things interesting. It engages you with the world. And if you didn't do that, you'd be all alone, no one to talk to, nothing going on. The world would disappear, you'd be all alone, and you'd be awfully bored. And what kind of a life is that? But notice where that information is coming from, that whole idea, that suggestion, from your friend the mind. But look, notice how nice it is when you start getting in touch with quiet. When your mind starts going quiet, you just feel relaxed, open, peaceful, loving. And the only thing that's stopping us from being in this most delicious state is this fear of being bored or not knowing what to do, I'm going to die, all that stuff, right? So that worst fear that you have, if you stop listening to your mind, bring up that fear. Welcome it up. And just notice, measure for yourself to see where you're at on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the most fearful, 0 being the least fearful. Just see where you're at. You know, maybe it's a 5, maybe it's a 10. Now, that fear that you have, our mental reaction to it is to want to suppress that fear because it's not a feeling that we like being around, so we push it down so we don't have to feel it. But it doesn't go anywhere when we do that. And what we're doing, for lack of better words, is just saying no to that fear. So instead now, could you say yes to that fear? Just say yes to it. And could you say yes to that fear even more? And could you say yes to that fear even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And notice where you are right now. Notice where you are on that scale of 0 to 10. See if you dropped. All right? Now, wherever you're at, whatever fear is left, can you look at that fear? Let's just look right at it and say, I love you, fear. I love you. I really, really love you. I love you. I just love you. I love you. And see where you are now. See if you dropped even lower on that scale of fear. That's showing you how powerful you are when you start loving, and how insignificant that fear is in the face of love. In fact, notice how that fear is just melting away. And that shows you how real that fear is. If you could just turn on the love and it dissolves, how real can it be?
And it's just a feeling, right? If that feeling isn't so real, maybe that whole story about that worst case scenario, maybe that's not real either. All right? Now, while we're at it, let's pull up some more fear. See if you can bring up some more now that you're on a roll. Call it up. Just say, fear, come on up. Just think about something else terrible that could happen to you if you stop listening to your mind. Maybe you think that the people that you value in your life, maybe they won't hang around you anymore. Maybe they'll disappear. Maybe if you lose your mind, stop listening to your mind, you'll be weird. They won't understand you. And you're going to lose your relationships. Maybe something like that. What else comes up for you? And see if you can bring up that fear. And again, just measure yourself. It's good to measure yourself. Because if you could put a number to the fear, that's kind of proven that you're the owner. And once you put a number to it, say, oh, that fear is at a 5, now you're starting to take it more objectively rather than subjectively. The story and, oh my God. So just say, oh, it's at a 5, or it's at a 10. It's still a number. Maybe it's at a 20. It's still a number. And could you look at that fear, wherever it's at? Just say, I love you, fear. I love you. I really, really love you. I love you unconditionally. I love you. I just love you. Notice how you feel. And notice where you are on that scale. See if you are dropping on that scale. Let's keep the ball running. Just open up and let that fear go. Hand it over to beingness now. Just like hand it over on a silver platter. I'm done with this fear. You take it now. And notice beingness will gladly accept it. It'll take it off your hands. It has no problem with the fear. And it just gobbles up the fear in love. And notice how beingness is a nice, loving space. So it's a good thing to hand over to fear. That fear. Or anything else, hand it over to beingness. You can be doing a nicer act because beingness is full of love. So just surrender over some more fear to beingness. And some more. And some more. And some more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. Getting quieter and freer. Shows you how much you need that fear. It shows you how real it is. It's not real. So welcome up the rest of your fear. Just all of it. As much as you can right now. Just open up and let it all go. And even more. And even more. and even more. Notice how you feel. And notice the quiet that's all around you. You're always in a space of quiet. Even when there's noise and other stuff going on, all of it is happening in a space of quiet. So notice that quiet even more. And surrender to that quiet even more. Now, from the point of view of quiet, let's just ask ourselves, or better yet, ask quiet, who would I be without fear? Who would I be without fear? And just take what you get coming from quiet. Whatever that answer is, notice it's full of empowerment. It's full of truth, pointing at who you are. And notice that's coming from quiet. And that quiet always has your back. It's always going to work towards empowering you. Not putting you down, not keeping you in fear, not distracting you. But it brings you into presence. So let's start identifying even more with quiet. Instead of identifying with the mind, and instead of identifying with the body, as is so easy to do when we lose our focus. We just go right back into old habits. Worrying about stuff, tending to our body and all of our body's needs, rather than being in the moment. Being quiet. So just get a picture of your mind. Whatever that looks like to you. Now right now you're looking at a picture in your mind, of your mind. You're just looking at a picture. And it's your picture. You're the owner here. And since you're the owner, just imagine that picture evaporating and dissolving. And imagine it evaporating and dissolving even more. And 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 let that whole picture evaporate and dissolve. The whole thing disappear. Now get a picture of your body, whatever that looks like to you. And could you allow that picture to evaporate and dissolve? And even more. And even more. And even more. and even more, and even more. Now allow that whole picture to just evaporate, disappear into nothing. And now get a picture of your ego, whatever that means to you. That story, that persona, that personality, your story of you, who you think you are. Just get a picture of that, whatever that looks like to you. Could you allow that picture to evaporate and dissolve? And could you allow it to evaporate and dissolve even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. Now just notice something here. If you're not that mind, if it's just a sound, and if you're not that body, it's just a picture, and you're not that ego, it's just a story. If you're not any of that, who are you? Who are you who's aware that there's a sound in your head? Who are you who's aware that you're inhabiting this body? Who are you who's making up that story? Now there's no right or wrong answer here. Just take whatever you get. Whatever comes up for you right now, just surrender to it. Let that take you wherever it's going. Just let go. Jump into it. Like jumping into a gentle stream. You just let it carry you down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. So just surrender even more. And even more. And let go. Just let go of holding on. And let go even more. And just let yourself go. Let yourself free fall into beingness. Are you? Notice your answer. Are you? Are you? Are you? Now take a deep breath in and say to yourself, I. And exhale slowly and say am. And Take another deep breath in and say I, and exhale and say am. And again, I am. I am. And just keep doing this on your own now. Silently saying to yourself, I am. I am. And notice how quiet you are now. Notice how much more tangible the quiet is. See, to the mind, quiet seems like nothing. Like there's nothing there. Like it's dead, empty, devoid. But it's just the opposite. Quiet is very alive. And it's very spontaneous. And we can talk to quiet. And we can get very spontaneous answers. So let's ask quiet some questions. Ask quiet if there's any such thing as the past. Just take what you get. Ask quiet if there's any such thing as the future. Just take what you get. Ask quiet if there's any such thing as birth. Ask quiet if there's any such thing as death. Just see what answer quiet gives you. Ask quiet if there's any such thing as good or bad. Ask quiet what it is that you need to do to earn a living. And just take what you get. Notice what quiet says. Ask quiet if you have any limitation whatsoever. Notice those answers that you're getting from quiet. Notice how quiet is coming from the position of love. Now, could you surrender to love? Now, just open up. Allow love to come into you. All the love in the universe. There's lots of love. And the whole universe. It's the harmony that holds the whole universe together. All the plants, and the birds, and the trees, and the sun, everything's just in harmony. It's only mankind with our silly mind that creates disharmony. But even beyond the planet, all the planets and solar systems, galaxies, everything's all in a coordinated dance of harmony in this loving field of quiet. And it goes on and on and on without end, the quiet. So could you surrender to love? Just open up and invite it in. All that love. Just accept it. And open up a little bit more. See if you can accept even more love in. Just open up, relax. Allow it to come in on you. And open up to it even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And just relax into it. Notice you don't have to do anything. Just allow it. Just surrender. And notice it gets nicer and nicer. The more you surrender, the more you open up. And notice nothing bad has happened. You haven't died. No one's left you. You haven't lost anything. So maybe your ego, your mind was full of it. Do you know what it's talking about? Just notice how you feel going into quiet. And here you are. You've never gone anywhere. You never will go anywhere. You are. You are. And notice how easy it is to just open up. There's no effort in this. So open up to even more love. And surrender to love even more. And even more. And even more. Notice how you feel. So here it is. It doesn't get any easier than this. And this is it. This is how you open up to abundance. Accept it. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to ask your mind how to do it. You're doing it right now. And then the very same way, you can allow abundance to come in. You allow happiness. You can allow your life to be easy. Just by surrendering to love, opening up to it. And again, nothing bad has happened. It got nicer. The total opposite of what your mind had you afraid of. So it literally is this easy. You just have to do it now. So just keep letting go. Keep surrendering to love. And just watch. Watch what happens in your life. Be the witness, just like you're witnessing your breath. Just get quiet, be the witness, and you'll witness the most beautiful life unfold right in front of you. Because that's the harmony of the universe. And you are the universe. Just keep surrendering. I'll see you all of a sudden.